livelihood, occupations and professions in urban areas. Along with more than 6 lakh villages, India has as many as 5,000 towns and nearly 27 big cities known as metros. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata are some of the big cities or metros. Each of them has a population of more than 10 million people. Therefore, urban livelihood greatly differs from the rural livelihood as the urban surroundings are different. Moreover, the urban society is heterogeneous because its population comprises people from different parts of India. People are either self employed or employed in government offices, companies, banks, hospitals, educational institutions, or corporates. A large number of people also work on these streets as hawkers, vendors, etc. So, the cities are not just about a huge crowd of people, but it also helps us to know about a wide variety of jobs done by the people for their livelihood. The people in the metros come from different parts of the country, bringing their own culture, customs, tradition, dresses, and varied language. Such a wide variation cannot be seen in any rural area. In the urban areas, people follow different occupations to earn their livelihood. So, the scope of the means of livelihood in the urban areas is far more wider than in the rural areas. Let's study about the means of livelihood in the urban areas. Urban livelihood. The occupations adopted by people in the cities and towns are known as urban livelihood. Since a large number of people live in towns and cities, they require greater number of facilities. These facilities involve the hospitals, banks, schools, colleges, courts, police stations, factories, industries, and shopping malls, etc. The different professionals include teachers and lecturers who teach in schools and colleges, inspectors, sub-inspectors, and constables posted at police stations for maintaining the law and order, judges and lawyers engaged in different cases at civil or criminal courts, doctors and nurses engaged in the hospitals, dispensaries, and medical clinics, employees of the different banks, employees working in state and central government offices. They are appointed at the central and state level by the Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, and the State Public Service Commission, SPSC, respectively. They are also entitled to the permanent job with all benefits like government accommodation, earned leaves, medical facilities, and pension. Public sector employees are employed in a number of enterprises run by the government for the development of the country. Some of these organizations are the Indian Railways, Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited, Bharat Petroleum, etc. The number of employees working in these organizations is quite large. Skilled employees working in different factories and industries as workers, supervisors, and officers. Their services cannot be terminated easily. For instance, people employed in export houses fabricating garments, skillful cooks and managers in different hotels and restaurants. The majority of the people in urban areas are the workers engaged either on the regular employment or on daily wages. These include the workers doing manual work in different industries such as textile industries, pharmaceutical industries, factories, construction industry, etc. There are garment export units which fabricate garment of different types to other countries. Such units employ garment workers. Since these export orders have to be met within the deadline, the workers have to put in more than the required effort, sometimes even in two shifts. They get more money for extra work. However, when the work is completed, many workers are left without work. The conditions of work are not good, but the workers have no choice. If they leave, there are many others ready to work on lesser wages. A large part of the urban population is self employed or working in the shopping malls. The self employed people do work of their own choice. They make sure that all the requirements of the people are met easily. The other workers of urban areas are shoemakers, cobblers, barbers, goldsmiths, blacksmiths, taxi drivers, etc. There are some people with a creative bent of mind. They open boutiques, parlors, interior decoration outlets. Some people open a florist's shop and supply flowers to people. In urban areas where some people are relatively prosperous, they engage domestic help who work as maids, while there are others who supply milk, vegetables, and fruits, etc., at the doorstep. Street vendors or hawkers are an important part of urban economy as they have been providing different services and goods to the middle and lower middle class urban population for decades. Tea hawkers on small intersections offer a social gathering place where poor and middle class population, after a tiring day at work, assemble and share their thoughts over a cup of tea. Thus, they act as a social and cultural outlet for the people. But the hawkers and vendors have no job security. There are certain areas in the city in which they are not allowed to enter because they may obstruct roads, creating trouble for vehicles to pass, resulting in a traffic jam. A suggestion has been made to confine them to a marked area under the signboard hawking zones. The government is planning to modify laws to legalize street vending and allow vendors to move around freely in their fixed areas. Many businessmen manage their own shops, selling utensils, crockery, furniture, electronic goods such as TVs, refrigerators, DVDs, VCRs, music systems, ready made clothes, toys, bangles, etc. These are permanent shops. Their owners get license or permission from the government to do business. There are others who run a travel agency, render courier services, or run the chemist's shop. Also, there are restaurants, fast food joints, jewelry shops, and bookshops in the local market. There are many people employed as workers in these concerns. Then there are the casual workers who are employed on a temporary basis. That is, they get work as and when required by the employer. There is no job security for them, and their services can be terminated at the will of the employer. They work for very long hours, sometimes 12 to 14 hours a day. There are also people working as daily wages. Many daily wage workers and skilled artisans gather at labor chowk to be hired by contractors or their agents. These are the rickshaw pullers, people working on construction site, painters, mason, and carpenters. Some also lift heavy loads at construction sites or on the trucks. Some also dig pipelines, lay telephone cables, and build roads. A new form of employment, currently very popular in big cities, is that of call centers. A call center is well equipped with computers and telephones and is linked with both the Indian and foreign companies. It helps to sort out or deal with problems faced by customers and consumers around the world. The person working at the call centers must be well versed in English. Migration. The influx of people from the outside into the city is termed as migration. Migration of people from rural to urban areas leads to rapid increase in the population of cities and places a burden on the cities. People from rural areas come in large numbers to cities in search of better jobs and in order to improve their standard of living. Other factors that prompt them to migrate are lack of educational and medical facilities in villages, seasonal nature of employment at the rural level, desire of rural people to improve their standards of living like that of the urban people. Many landless laborers migrate to the cities for a short time when they have no work to do in villages. They get employed there as casual workers. They live on the outskirts of the cities or slums in unhygienic conditions without safe drinking water and electricity. They create a considerable size of the urban poor population. In order to stop such immigrations, the government has introduced several self employment schemes so as to train and educate the rural youth in various skills. These skills would help them to set up their own business and make them self reliant. Rural and urban structure a comparison. Rural and urban communities may be distinguished from each other on the basis of occupation, size, and density of population, environment, and social division into different classes. People of rural areas are close to nature, while people of urban areas are surrounded by man made environment and separated from the natural habitat. Farming is the main activity of people living in the rural areas. Besides this, some people are engaged in non agricultural activities as well, whereas people living in urban area are largely professionals. Many of them are also involved in manufacturing, trade, and business. The size of rural communities is small as compared to the urban community. Also, the urban areas are densely populated as compared to the rural areas. Rural communities are caste based, whereas the urban communities are class based. Family bondings and coordination is much more prominent in rural areas, whereas nuclear family system in urban cities has somehow put those values aside. The number of working children in the rural areas is 10 times more than in urban areas. Literacy rate in rural areas is quite low, while in urban areas it is much higher. The status of women in urban areas is higher than that of the women in rural areas. Urban women are comparatively more educated and enjoy more liberty.